So I talked to a few people, and some people said at age 16 you should be able to make your own decisions. Some people said at age 18. Herschel Walker was almost 50 when he had his his mixed martial arts fight, and he says, I'm listening to my instructor, and if my instructor thinks I'm ready, then I'll go. If he thinks I'm not ready, and he fought your former
sparring partner. Yeah.
And so he didn't fight after his third fight, even though he won it, and he's an incredible physical specimen. So someone told him, no more, and that's it for you. You got enough money, you got a wife and kids, etc.
You proved your point.
Yeah, no reason to keep going.
No reason to keep on going.
Being a good listener, I think that's an important thing for, we talked about Asian etiquette, and I think being a good listener, keeping your ear out, as they say, is a good part of Asian etiquette. Listen to the Yoda, and in my opinion, Yoda was based on Qigong masters, martial arts masters. He's using with Luke the same type of talk that the ancient Chinese martial artists may have said and Japanese martial artists may have said, which is slow down and consider your options and quit fighting with this hatred and this ego, and find the correct balance in your life before you go off half-cocked and wind up causing damage to yourself and other people. Would you agree about Yoda and where he came from?
I'm not sure if I would completely agree with that. I think like a lot of Sifu's instructors, like I've had a lot of instructors over the years, it's hard to explain to my students that even though I called them Sifu, they were actually students of my Sifu, but they were still my Sifus.
Yeah.
So it's like, the hierarchy of things. Some of my Sifus were really into, if you want to do this, go ahead and do it. And I think a lot of the wise instructors, they usually just smile and go, we used to be you, and if that's what you want to do, you go ahead, you're going to learn the hard way. Okay, I think modernly though, especially with technology, funnily enough, like YouTube and such like that, there's a lot of knowledge that is out there, and I think a lot of coaches are hearing what they're tapping in, and they're going, maybe we should slow things down. Okay, there are like I mentioned this in the last video, there are a lot of teams out there that used to be, we're going to beat the crap out of each other every single practice. Those teams aren't really up and alive anymore for whatever reason. No need to speculate on why, but the Militich camp, the Lions Den, Shooter Box. I think Shooter Box might still be around, but you rarely hear about these teams who are going in there and says, yeah, we're going to, AKA American Kickboxing Academy up in San Jose. They had Luke Rockhold, they had Cain Velasquez, and DC, I can't remember DC's full name, Daniel Cormier.
Wow, he's something else.
Yeah, and Daniel Cormier started at a late date. He got his credentials in wrestling, was world champion Olympic.
He was a college Division I top wrestler.
Okay.
He got beat by that guy. He did the leg drag, the white guy who was undefeated. In
the Russian?
No, the American collegiate wrestler in the NCAA.
Well, neither there here or there. These guys' careers are now going, and they've had good careers, and that's maybe associating something that isn't. But they were well known for, hi, we're going to beat the crap out of each other during our practice. And I'm like, that's not a smart thing to do. No. And I hope I'm not talking out the side of my head. If this is wrong, by all means, correct me.
Leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment. But that's basically what I heard, and so.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the Lions Den, and I had the good fortune to spend some time with Ken Shamrock, who's about my age, within 8 months to a year and a half of my age, and I grew up differently. I grew up watching my body, caring for my body each and every step of the way. I got maybe 4 injuries a year in sports, but I didn't permanently damage myself, whereas Ken has metal in various places in his body, brackets in his back, titanium in the neck, rebuilt knees. And I asked him, I said, how many times since you were a young person, like 18, have you been 100% for any of your sporting events, any of your fights? And think you guess what he said?
None.
0. And so when I started thinking about that, he told me the story of the Lions Den, and you read his book. The Lions Den was brutal fitness, you had to pass all these incredible military-type fitness tests on the field just in order to train with them. And then once you
Go
train
watch
with them,
the first season of The Ultimate Fighter. What he made
Yeah.
his guys do. I think he was on there multiple times, right? One or two
I
times.
don't remember.
But yeah, making them do. Maybe it wasn't the first one, but basically the one with Ken Shamrock, and he's just like, yeah, take that and lift it over here, go and just. And they're like, well, when are we going to spar? When are we going to drill? When are we going to be doing this? And he was just doing a bunch of like physically challenged matches. It was a very interesting approach to fighting, and I personally think that Ken Shamrock should be given credit for this. But he brought the athleticism into fighting, and some people are just like
Hickson had it too.
Yeah,
Different kind of athleticism.
yeah, definitely Hickson Gracie. Great guy. I met him. He changed the way I met him 3 years ago. Just 1 hour of training with him, and I changed the way I taught.
Where'd you train with him?
It was in Las Vegas. He was just doing this this little conference, and he walked in, and
Yeah, he's got quite a presence, doesn't he?
he does. He's very extremely humble. He comes in, and everybody's like, oh, there's Hickson Gracie, and there's a room of 200 people.
Martial artists?
All martial artists, most of them black belts. And before he goes, oh, it's about to start. He goes around, and I'm not exaggerating, he shakes everybody's hands and says, thank you for coming. So,
Humble.
yeah, that gives me
Yeah.
goosebumps just
Yeah.
talking about him. I'm just
Asian
like,
etiquette from the Brazilian.
And, you know, he showed basic movement. And, you know, a lot of black belts are, why are you showing us this basic movement? And then all of a sudden he goes, oh, no, this is typical. And then he completely shows you something completely different about the move. You think you know this move, it's actually this. And so it was shortly after that
Here
where
you are doing it for your whole life, and he's teaching you something new.
Exactly. And so that's why I've actually changed things. You know, I have people who want to learn these advanced moves, and I says, there are things about this basic move that you haven't even learned yet. Okay, and I last night I taught my jujitsu sambo fusion classes, or whatever I'm starting to call it. But I'm like, I'm going to teach you one thing, okay? And after the class, I thank them. I go, I thank you very much because you guys don't know about this. You don't come from a wrestling background. You don't come from any martial art background. Now I have to teach you. And then by teaching you today, I've learned new and different ways I can explain things. So you guys came in here and learned something from me. You have taught something to me. Thank you very much for allowing me.
So he's one of the best seminar guys you've ever seen?
Ever.
Ever.
And I apologize for all the other people who've ever put on.
Great seminar
Yeah,
guys.
great seminars.
But he's a different kind of an animal.
Yeah.
He's
It was-
born differently. He grew up differently. He's an interesting mixture of physical ability, humbleness, got screwed by his older brother on the legal stuff before he came to America, had to sign away his rights to fight here, and he hasn't built an empire like his older brother has, and so he's the most skillful
He's built up an empire of respect.
of respect. And that's more important than money.
Yeah, anytime I hear anybody's gotten a black belt underneath him, I'm like,
Yep.
all right, you know your stuff.
All right, so we're going to come back and talk in a bit more about some other issues, more of the physiological side of brain injury. So I'm Sifu Slim with Sifu Mike, and we'll be back in a moment.